everyone. I'm Russ Regentz with Blue Wave Radio's Roatan Real Estate Roundup, sponsored by ReMax. With me today, we have his very special guests, Melaina Matute, broker and general manager of the local ReMax agency, and agents Michelle Breuer and Todd Hagerty. So Melaina, for our audience, can you tell us a little bit about your real estate history and why ReMax?
Hi, so I'm Melaina Matute. I grew up in the Garifuna community of Punta Gorda. I started working at a local bank first in Oak Ridge, then French Harbor, and then I continued in Cox and Home. During that time is when I met Larry Slessor, the founder of Roatan Real Estate. I managed his bank transaction at the bank, and he was very pleased with my service. When he heard that I was leaving the bank, he decided to hire me. So I started working as a receptionist with Roatan Real Estate back in 2006. So after the company grew, he purchased the ReMax franchise. He encouraged me to continue my education. So with the company's support, I attended classes on weekend, and I obtained my bachelor's degree in business management. So through my hard work, I moved up from receptionist to escrow department, then supervisor, and then I become a licensed agent. So now I'm proud to be the broker and managing partner for 3 ReMax franchises on Roatan. We have the ReMax Bay Island, which is in Jackson Plaza, ReMax Western Sunsets in West Bay Mall. We have the ReMax Dreamscape in Coconut Tree Plaza in West End.
Hey, I was going to so with ReMax, you guys have been very successful really since 2006 and before, since you really came on. You know, tell us a little bit about the success that your offices and ReMax is having.
So ReMax is always the top 10% of the Roatan brokerages, with approximately over 80 transactions annually, with about over 20 million in volume. You know, ReMax is in over 110 countries and territories and has over 140,000 agents.
Globally. Wow, that's power. Well, and I think that's one of the big things that, the people are attracted to ReMax because of the competency and because of the local presence. And I think that's something that you guys merge very, very well. All right, so cool. We're going to head on to our first topic today. And our first topic is financing for non-Hondurans. We will talk about financing specifically for native Hondurans at a later episode. But today we're going to talk about specifically non-Hondurans. So, Todd, let me jump in. What majority, or there is a majority, but what are the ratios that most people pay with cash? Kind of what are the options?
Well, good morning, Russ. I'm Todd Hagerty. So 85% of what we do here on the island of Roatan is done in cash. Part of that reason is financing for North Americans is much more difficult here on the island, unless you're going to use like a HELOC. From back in the States, which is a home equity line of credit. So some people do that from North America to finance their project here. But 85% of what we do is cash deals. But the other 15% is owner and developer financing. And we're starting to see that grow a little bit right now as well. That we're starting to see that turn, that financing is coming from those people as well.
Nice. Michelle, are you seeing the same thing?
Yeah, 100%. And, we discuss with a lot of people, it's like, trying to arrange your financing before you come down here. But like Todd said, there is now a lot more people that the owners are financing stuff. And when we talk about owner financing, generally, it's not like we may be used to in North America. I mean, you're looking at anywhere from 40 to 60% down payment and then a short-term financing period.
Okay, so it's not your traditional 30-year notes as we would see in North America.
Correct. Not many that I've seen like that anyways. Actually, I've seen that.
Yeah, that doesn't exist here.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Todd, you had talked a second ago and mentioned a product called a HELOC. And for our audience that doesn't know what that is, that's actually a home equity line of credit. Do you find some of your guys' clients and potential buyers, they're tapping resources of either lines of credit or equity in their current home to leverage to buy a home and make their dream come true here?
That's absolutely what we're seeing. Interest rates obviously right now in North America have gone up a little bit, but as they were down lower, people were saying, wow, this is almost free money. Let's go do this. They can buy their dream home here on a place like Roatan, Honduras, in the Caribbean, and at 2-3%, they were happy to do that. They're just taking the equity out of their home there and investing here. And it's been a great investment here because prices here are going up, and I think they're going to continue to go up.
Mm-hmm. And Michelle, you being Canadian, your perspective is pretty much the same as a little different. You're dealing with those values. And one of the things we've talked about with our Canadian partners is right now is the value of the dollar. So, so financing is really uber important to our friends in Canada, right?
Yeah. And it's, like the Canadian dollar compared to the US dollar, they're losing 25% right off the bat when they come down here. Again, they have to arrange the financing. There's something they can do there is, they could, almost like a HELOC, it's called in the States, they can do, if they can get a line of credit and, leverage that from Canada, that's another option they can do. But, with the interest rates and the dollar exchange, it does make it tougher for Canadians to come down and finance anything down here right now. That's
on the front side though, Russ, because on the back side, after they invest here, they're getting the equity of the U.S. dollar. So they are making, it's a good investment for them as well.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I was just going to ask that question because you're absolutely right, Todd. Going in's a little more tough, but coming out, you are actualizing that on the American dollar standard. So that definitely helps everybody.
Yes.
All right. So tell me a little bit about developer financing. You guys are saying that's coming on more and more being an opportunity, and we see more and more master developments, specifically condos, I think some, a little more here. What are you seeing in that realm?
Well, I think Michelle started hitting on a little bit. Really what we're seeing is anywhere from that 40 to 60% down payment. They're usually running somewhere between a 3 to 5 year note. And interest rates, it can run anywhere from 5 to 10%, depending on your real estate agent and what they're talking to people and what they can write up in the offer. But generally, I think if you're in 7%, you're doing pretty well.
And there is there's also like prepayment, like pre-construction payment schedules as well too. So with the amount of building that's going on right now, a lot of buildings are being sold before they're even built. And so they do and it varies from project to project, but it'll start with a 10% down. And then like another 10 or 20% based upon how far they are in the build. And then another 30%, for example, with a promissory note to buy at that point. And then, then it goes as, the windows and doors come in, as the floors are done. So that's another option as well, too, where somebody can get into the market at today's prices and still kind of have it financed as a place is being built. Absolutely. But they're financing it themselves, obviously.
Yeah, that's a nice move. And I think when we Tanya and I first bought our first property 18 years ago, that's exactly what happened, is that we were able to obtain financing through the actual developer. Back then, we were younger. Obviously, we didn't have the cash. And so we were really starting to utilize that financing. And it was basically a personal loan that our developer had funded. Let me ask y'all something. And just thinking about this from the buyer's perspective, developers come and developers go. And not where you are, it doesn't matter where you are in this world. Their capitalization is really important when it comes to lending. Is there anything or consultations that you all are having about the actual developers and their ability to finish projects?
Michelle, why don't you take that one? You're working with somebody right now that's doing that.
Yeah, I am. Actually, a couple. So the people I'm working with right now, they're like, how do I explain? So one of the development, it's being funded by the purchases coming in. That's why, a pre-sale, pre-construction financing works well. So, but I haven't run into projects not getting finished. I really can't speak a lot to that, except for the fact that, make sure you are working with a developer who has a good builder who, that you're confident will finish the project. All of the money does get held in escrow for these builds and stuff. So the buyers are protected that way. But it's just, I haven't seen personally any problems. It's just a matter of who you're going to work with. With the correct developer.
Well, I think And I think in some of our conversations in the past, that's one of the benefits of working with a ReMax, with, as Melaina had said, a global institution, 140,000 agents globally. And that's important because that's a value that I think you all specifically as agents and then broker being ReMax can help vet some of that risk out of it for your buyers.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Our back office with ReMax really takes care of us. I mean, us agents as well as our clients, because they're checking on these things. They're making sure who we're working with, where titles are, where surveys are, and all of that stuff is very important to the client to make sure that they're receiving what they're paying for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're absolutely right. And I think that was, and I can speak to my experience 18 years ago, part of our trepidation was we are not in the United States. So we understood the process, we got it all, but things are different here and they can work a little bit differently. So I think that's important. I think, Michelle, you said it a little bit earlier, make sure you get your financing ahead of time, get it done before you start that process of really looking for your true next dream home.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing for people that are looking at buying in Roatan to do is try and get things, sorted in their home country ahead of time, so they're not surprised when they come down here.
Yeah. So let me put you all on the spot real quick. I'll ask you one weird question. Anybody have kind of a story or anything silly of people that didn't have their ducks in a row, that missed out on having their dream house by not having their ducks in a row, without naming names? So.
I've had the experience with people where, they came down and I was going to say that when we were just talking about that you have them in a row. So because things move fast here, things are moving fast on the island. And because of that, inventory has gotten lower. And so when we go out and we find that right property for our clients, we need to put our offers in. We need to have them ready to go. But I have had that happen to me where they said, we're gonna need a week or so to think about it, and their dream home was gone. And and it's like, we talked about that, but let's find another one for you. But it does happen. So having when you come and you're ready, when we find it, let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Yeah. All right. So guys, obviously, thanks for taking the time today. This is our very first episode of the Blue Wave Radio's Roatan Real Estate Roundup. This has been great. These are the conversations, and me knowing all of you and having these dialogues and conversations, you can hear, the passion that you all at ReMax bring and how you really enjoy putting people together with their dream homes. And as all of us can attest, it's a pretty nice, dreamy place living here. It's not a complaint. So. All right, so
thanks, Russ.
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been Michelle Breuer and Todd Hagerty with ReMax. I'm Russ Regentz with Blue Wave Radio's Roatan Real Estate Roundup, sponsored by our partners at ReMax. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next episode.